Hello gentle people, and welcome to this week's Music Alerts video where I tell you what physical music product I've received through the post this week. Now I have some vinyl for you, but let's begin with CD. And let's start in Australia, shall we? And with the label Playback and the complete Steve and the Board. Who? Well, if you're outside of Australia, you might be asking, who? Well, if you like the Bee Gees, you will be interested in Steve and the Board, because both Colin Peterson and Jeff Bridgford would join the, well, early 60s incarnation of the Bee Gees after they left Steve and the Board. The group were a kind of garage rock band that flourished between 1965 and 1967. This CD collection features the band's only album, called, rather profoundly, Giggle-Eyed Goo, and that also includes a track composed by the one and only Barry Gibb. Plus, on this collection, you also get 4 non-album singles. Next is Jeanette Jones and something called Dream All Come True. This is another compilation. Now, Jones had a mature, strong, solid soul voice. She had a very sort of smooth and expressive delivery. This 20-track outing features her one solo single plus a whole host of other recordings, including her role with the gospel outfit, the Voices of Victory Choir. Next we have Judy Jacques and the 60s Sessions. Now, Jacques had a lively, quite strong, bluesy, trad jazz delivery. This collection features her work with the Yara Yara New Orleans Jazz Band, studio and live. Judy Jacques and her Gospel 4, plus her solo work. So there's quite a lot of varied output here. And like all of the playback CDs featured in this video, they all come with a superbly produced and informative booklet. If you're familiar with Ace Records in the UK or abroad, it's that kind of quality. In fact, Playback are, I don't know if they would agree with this, maybe they wouldn't, but I see Playback almost as the Australian version of Ace Records. Finally on Playback, make way for Timi Yuro and Make the World Go Away. That's the name of the package. Now, Yuro had a unique delivery, I would say. On one side, on the one extreme rather, she had a sweet feminine coating to her delivery. And with a flick of a vocal cord, on the other side, that would turn into, well, she would sound like the lead singer of a very successful doo-wop group, a sort of male high, or falsetto, but pretty high delivery. And that vocal combo, that sort of range, is heard here on her 1963 recordings. All of them have a country varnish. Here, she sings the first recordings, for example, of a number of songs from the songwriters Willie Nelson and Hank Cochran. So if you're a Willie Nelson fan, check out this CD. Next, we're going to move on now to 2 rather lovely CD packs from the UK's Fruits de Mer, resplendent in an oversized card gatefold sleeve, both labelled as an introduction to. The first introduction to package is via Psychedelic Folk Outfit, I think that's how I would label them, called Honeypot with Crystal Jacqueline, and a sort of retrospective of the group's work over the past decade, including original recordings, covers, and a live cut. Next, another introduction to, and we're looking at the multi-instrumentalist singer-songwriter Anton Barbeau, with 19 tracks and yet more psychedelia, adding a very attractive melodic pop to the psychedelia melting pot. Barbeau has a very interesting, almost Lennon-like nasal delivery. Next, we're looking at the Kent label now, and a collection called Atlanta Hotbed of 70s Soul. Includes 24 tracks featuring that very thing from the likes of Deep Velvet, the Surprise Sisters. Great name for a collective. The Surprise Sisters. Joe Hinton, Gene Battle, and Dee Clark, and many more, of course. Now, most of this collection has never been heard before. Why? Well, the record label that produced a lot of this music was financed by criminal activities. Most of the music was shut down because of rights issues back in the, well, early 70s, very soon after this music was produced. Well, that rights issue has now been put to bed, and here it all is for your delectation. And I'll tell you what, there's some classic soul here, folks. Next on the Westbound label is Funkadelic's Greatest Hits, the very same 1975 LP reissued here for the first time, offering a quality sampler, I would say, for early Funkadelic singles, especially their more up-tempo works. Next, from the BGP label, we have Live from Lonnie Liston Smith, his only official live LP, featuring 8 tracks and originally released in 1977 on the Flying Dutchman label. This one was recorded at Smucker's Cabaret. What an amazing name for Smucker's Cabaret in Brooklyn, in New York in 1976. It was his only commercial live LP, as I say, but also one of his most essential albums, period, partly because of the energetic and rather gritty full-on performance. Vinyl now, and 2 from the UK outfit Demon and 2 from Dr. John. First up we have Night Tripper from 1977. This is essentially a collection of the man's mid-60s recordings that was first collected in 1977 on the Crazy Cajun label. Basically, these are sessions that predate the early album from Dr. John. How do you pronounce it? Is it Gris? I can't believe it's Gris. Is it Gris? I think it's Gris. 10 tracks anyway on this vinyl reissue, and this particular vinyl reissue is the first time this collection has been reissued on vinyl, and it's been pressed on red and green splattered clear vinyl as well. Also look out for an album called Malcolm Rebennack, which is Dr. John's real name, and it's a kind of part 2 to Night Tripper, because this is more of the same, more of those early pre-Grease sessions, you might say. You get another 10. This time, these rather rough and ready yet essential early archive tracks, you get that on a disc which has been pressed half black and half red. Next, and featuring a lyric insert and 10 tracks, we have Peel's Acid Star on Innovative Leisure, whose style varies from, oh, I don't know, Manson-like power ballads to melodic techno to French-ish pop. And, well, it's varied. I'll give it that. Next, we have Urvanovic and Let's Not Be Here on the Common Grounds label. Again, featuring a lyric insert. This is the band's second album. I think they're from Scotland. Anyway, the band's second album, a mere 9 years after their alt-rock debut. This LP blends a more dynamic approach when compared to the debut. This second album, rather more energetic, rather more dynamic, although there are low-key inserts that remind me a little bit of Belle and Sebastian-ish. Others build slowly to a power rock vomit that gets a heap of ideas off their chest, I'm sure. Next we have Audrey Powne now, and an album called From the Fire on the BBE label, presented within a gatefold sleeve. This one has a kind of ninja tune light feel to it. We have romantic jazz beats, jazz vocal, orchestral interludes, rather attractive soul vocal interjections, and Powne getting down with the trumpet, the piano, other keys, and string arrangements. Powne is a rather talented individual. I like this a lot. Also on BBE is the album Altera Vita from the harp of Alina. I'm going to get this name wrong, so apologies now. Bzhezhinska? I'm going to say Bzhezhinska. Again, apologies if I got that wrong. Plus, tenor saxman Tony Kofi, inspired by Pharoah Sanders. This album focuses on peace, on spirituality, on tranquility. Commune with the rising sun and meditate to the sounds of nature's song within this album. Very nice. Finally, we have a little bit of chaos to end from the Swedish free jazz octet outfit Angles and the vocalist Elle, Kari. Elle Kari? Elle Kari? I'm not quite sure. Anyway, the vocalist herself, she has an almost slightly Bjork quality, I would say. The album itself is called The Death of Calypso on the Thanatosis. I think it's Thanatosis. I've seen it spelled in a different way on the internet, but on the album itself, it's Thanatosis label. This is an experimental opera. Yeah, kind of an opera, really, in jazz clothing. It's even divided into 5 acts, and thus it includes drama, contemplation, chaos. I mentioned chaos earlier on. There's also chaos. There's industrial vibes. There is romance. This is a big screen production. I'm expecting an Academy Award nomination to follow. And that's it, folks. Thanks very much for staying to the end of this particular video. Down below, if you can click for me, do me a favor, would you? Do me a favor, just click down below on the like and subscribe buttons. It will put a smile on my face, and God knows I need one of those. One of these. So, if you can, that'd be nice. Anyway, also, further down, I'll put some links if links need to be added for what you've just seen. And in addition to that, there are links to my website, which has all kinds of stuff you won't see over here, folks, plus my Facebook group, which you're welcome to join, and my Patreon page, which has all kinds of music-related features, and there's videos, and there's room tours, and there's an exclusive video called Hi-Fi News, etc. So that's only appearing on Patreon. Check that out. I'll be back here basically the same sort of time next week, and I hope to have your company. Until then, folks, bye-bye for now.